Howdy YouTube, and welcome to this episode of the Gunman. So today's video is going to be a review and demonstration on the DV1 VS Pro Lite versus the brand new DV1 DV1. So we're going to be putting them head to head and letting you guys know which one I personally think is the better gun and what is more value for money, I guess. So now I am well aware it is probably a touch early to be making this video, and I'm actually making it as a requested video for quite a few people have requested this video, but reason being that it is a little bit premature is because the DV1 is actually an unfinished story as of yet. They've only released it in base coat setups, or what they claim to be optimal base coat air caps and tips. So yeah, it's, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, the rumours I'm hearing at this point, until they're going to be releasing their clear coat guns. So with all that aside, what you're seeing on screen at the moment is, well, what I would still call the best gun all in all, as an all-rounder, full package that ticks all the boxes, so to speak. It sprays base coat well, it sprays clear coat well. They're not going to absolutely break the bank to get one of these guns, but you're still getting a top quality tool, and yes, that is the DV1 VS Pro Lite. So these days, well, because it's kind of nearing maybe the end of its life, I hope not, I hope they continue to make these guns for quite some time, but what they started doing is actually selling them with a couple of different fluid tips, you know, in the last couple of years. So, you know, that's obviously another plus to it, whereas if you go for your DV1, then you want an extra fluid tip, well, then you're going to have to pay a little bit more. You want your extra air cap, obviously you're going to have to pay a little bit more. But yeah, at the moment you've only really got the 2 air caps to choose from if you go DV1, whereas if you go DV1 VS Pro or Pro Lite, you're going to have, wow, over 5, that's just off the top of my head, probably 6 or 7 air caps to choose from, you know. What you're seeing me spray with here is, out of all the guns I've used, the most efficient clear coat gun I've found that actually gets a decent result. So sure, you might be able to find some gun that uses a little bit less clear, but are you going to be able to get, you know, sellable finishes and replicate the orange peel or the finish of the rest of the card? So what you see me using next up here is the DV1 DV1. So I've actually got the HVLP set up now, so spray guns with direct were nice enough to send out one of each of the guns. So yeah, just in the last week they sent out the HVLP 1.3 setup, and this day here that you see me spraying this Volvo S60, it was like 33 degrees at the time of spraying this car. That's what my weather app said. So it was probably even warmer in the booth because it had just finished baking. So it was probably 34, 35 degrees while spraying this. So 1.3 with the HVLP tip on it, it was ideal. It sprayed it effortlessly, and that's the one thing I will say about the DV1. I do believe it is the best base coat gun I've ever used, but I've never gone and bought a new gun for base coat, if that makes sense. So all the time I've ever bought a brand new spray gun, it goes to the top of the line, and one of your older clear guns gets demoted to base coat because, yeah, that's just the way I've always done it. But in saying that, it is easily the best base coat gun I've ever used. For those coarse metallics, which what you see here, I actually can't remember the paint code off this car here. I paint too many cars to remember them all. But yes, it did have quite a lot of the coarse silver dollar in it, so, you know, the kind of colour that would go mottily with a cheaper spray gun, or if you're not careful. But this gun just, the best words that I can sum up, it's just effortless for those coarse metallics. So you guys who saw the initial review of the DV1, it was spraying another light metallic, and it just blended and just laid down absolutely effortlessly. So yeah, which setup at this point would I recommend? At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the environment that you're in. So I haven't used this HVLP a great deal so far. Used it a few times and very impressed with it in the hotter weather. So this is what I'll probably end up finding myself doing, using the HVLP 1.3 in the really hot days, and then I'll go for the HVLP Plus 1.2 when it starts cooling down. So yeah, that's probably what I would recommend. If you're in a high humidity environment, would then maybe go for the HVLP 1.3. On the other hand, if you're in a colder environment, maybe go the HVLP plus. So yeah, I mean, I would probably, if you're unsure, just go for the HVLP plus. HVLP plus will work fine in the hotter months as well, but if you are just finding it's not getting enough material on, then just, yeah, HVLP is probably what you want. But if you don't have a big enough compressor to power a HVLP gun, forget about it. Another thing that the DV1 must lose points for is something which is absolutely ludicrous, and there is no excuse for it. Now look, I've been given it a little bit of a pass because once you know, it doesn't matter. But like as long as you get the right setup, it doesn't really matter. But the fact that they're doing it is just, I guess, I know it's 2018 and the world's going crazy, but 1.2 is a measurement, right? That's what I was always thought. Like, if you buy a spray gun, it says 1.4 in it, that is a measurement. Why is a 1.2 on your DV1 larger than a 1.3 on your GTI Pro lights and Pros and Pro lights? It is just insane. I was very critical of SATA for doing it, because what happened when I was always a DV1 sprayer, right? So when I decided to get myself a SATA Jet 5000, I just thought, well, I'm a DV1 sprayer, I've always liked 1.3, maybe I'll just go SATA 1.3. What happened is I ended up getting a 1.47mm fluid tip because I didn't know, okay? So there's going to be lots of people that go to get this new DV1 that don't watch Gunman videos, that don't keep up to date with the, the online stuff, and they don't realize that, yeah, the new fluid tips are larger than what they say. And it's just absolutely ludicrous. There is no excuse for it, DV1. And now you've done it, you can't go back. It's one of you can't turn back from that unless you release the entire new gun. Like, you're stuck with that for the lifetime of this gun. So you can't just say, oh yeah, no, that was actually a bad idea. We shouldn't have bullshitted about the fluid tip sizes. We should have just kept them real. You know what? If I need to buy a 1.4, like, I don't mind. You don't have to tell me that my 1.3 is a 1. You don't have to put 1.3 on a 1.4mm fluid tip. It is ludicrous, and there is no excuse for it. I don't care what you say, honestly. There is no excuse whatsoever. That is an absolute rant, but I'm pretty, believe this pretty strongly, pretty passionate, and it is utterly annoying. And yeah, there's nothing you can tell me that, I mean, I know we live in a day where gender is fluid, so you can wake up as a man and then go to sleep as a woman and anything else of the other 86 genders in between, but fluid tips, man, I don't know, fluid tips aren't fluid. Rant over. Either way, look, I do love this DV1. It's competent for clear coat. I wouldn't say it's quite as good as the Pro Lite for clear coat. It just gets a little bit more material on than what I would probably like. I go for control usually over speed. You know, it sprays a little bit like a SATA Jet, but better, I think. Even like the HVLP Plus probably sprays even better than your SATA RPs, I find, anyway. I know there's some SATA fanboys that are going to hate on me for that, and I tell you what, I have got an absolute bomb to drop in a video review coming soon. As far as efficiency goes, honestly, you're clutching at straws to say, oh yeah, the DV1, it uses heaps less paint. I mean, how long have we, had spray guns around for? They've been around for quite some time. I think we're just at that point where, if you keep saying that each single gun uses less paint, we're going to be at the point where, oh yeah, I'm going to mix up 5 mils to paint that bumper bar. No, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to mix up 300 mils to paint that bumper bar, because you're going to need it. So yeah, I just don't believe all the marketing that I hear about certain guns. Look, real world, yeah, sure, it lays the metallics down really nice. It lays the coarse metallics down really nice. It's great to blend the coarse metallics with, and yeah, #1 base coat gun. If you can justify that kind of money for a base coat gun, yeah, go for it. Otherwise, hold off until they come out with their clear coat gun. Rightio gunners, we're gonna leave it there. Till next time, get out there and paint some shit. This has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.